The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Mabuhay to the new channel. Be the new you. This is King Gonzalez, and we would like to thank you for streaming live to the first episode of the second season of Realty Realities. Hello, guys. Good Saturday afternoon to you guys. I missed you. It's been a month and we haven't had any show because we finished season 1. So we're now on season 2. And season 2 is a lot brighter and a lot better because if you've seen, I have more lights here. And then you've also seen that I've got a new OBB, which has chill music this time as opposed to the bump, bump, pump music that we used to have. So it's not just those things that are new for this season. We also have games. Did you hear it right? Yes. We will also have a trivia for each of the episodes so that we could give you some prizes to give away, just like this from WJH Home and Body Essentials. And also for the opener of season 2, we also have, I wouldn't say better guests, but if you have more than one, our season 1 was opened by the president of KMC Savills. Now we have 2 people, one from KMC Savills and the other one from CBRE. Pero, wag muna natin silang introduce. Let's talk about something else. So if you're tuning in our Realties for the first time around, what do you expect from the show? Well, it talks about anything under the sun about real estate in the country. We talk about opportunities. What are best buys? Or is it the right time to buy or to sell? We're also talking to you about experiences of developers. Is it easy to develop, say, in Quezon City? We also talk to you about the secrets of the successful salespeople as well as brokers in the market today. So yon. Trivia. I said trivia back a while, and we'd like to start off with the first ever trivia in the show, which has a prize. So it's as simple as getting the answer and then putting it on the comment section You see the comment section at the bottom part of your screen. Just put in the answer there, and whoever gets it first will be awarded the WJH home mist. All right? It's as easy as, what is the first ever recorded real estate transaction in history? If you guys tuned in to episode 12, you probably know the answer by now. So is it A? Is it a donation? B? Is it a sale? Or C? Is it through extrajudicial settlement? Direct, is anybody answering? Is anybody answering now? Okay, you have until 5 o'clock to get that answer right on the comment section. And speaking of the comment section, if you have any questions to our bright and wonderful guests for this afternoon, please put it in the comment section because we have a question and answer portion at the end of the show. Right? Nabubulol ako on the opening of the second season. Woo! Right. Comment section. What else is good in the comment section? If you want to shout out to your teams, because I know you guys are watching, all those brokers and your sales groups. Just put in the comment section, say hi and hello to your teams because they're working hard, even on a Saturday afternoon, just like our guests this afternoon. So who's the first one? Well, let's mention both of them. Like what I said earlier, um, it's not it's not just one. We have two guests for this afternoon because we wanted a better season full of named guests that are experts in their field. So first up, we have the senior manager of the residential market of KMC Savills. Let's all please welcome Mr. Aron Pritchard.
Hi, King. Thanks for
Hi.
having me on the show and making me work on a Saturday. But I forgive you, don't worry.
There you go again. You mentioned it again. Aaron. Thank you.
No,
Thank you
it's
for
all
being
good.
here.
I'm pleased to be on your show.
Yep. Let me bring in another expert in the field, this time of office as well as industrial markets. He's the country head of the best real estate company in 2021 by Fortune magazine, CBRE's Jie Espinosa.
Hi, King. Good afternoon. Hi, Aaron. Good afternoon. King, thank you so much for having me here this afternoon. Hello to all of your guests and
Yeah.
watchers and viewers of the show.
Yeah, thank you, Z, also for gracing the show. I'll give you some time, guys. I'll start with you, Aaron, to probably say hi to your family or friends or fans out there. Aaron,
Hi, yeah. Hello to all my friends and family, and yeah, thanks for tuning in.
yeah, all right, and Z,
I just want to say hi to my team. They're all watching. There are some of them who are here backstage. So, hi. My family is here with me. So, I'm with them almost every day because I'm working from home. So, no need to say hi anymore.
okay. Sorry again. Nabanggit na naman that your team's also here with you on a Saturday afternoon. I believe it's supposedly an off day, but thank you. Thank you very much. When we were picking days, we said let's do it on a Saturday because that's where we'll see the commitment and passion of these guys to talk to people like you, the viewers, about real estate in the country. So maraming salamat. Um, I don't know if you've seen any of our shows, but the standard question goes, just to warm up everybody, is that um well, real estate is really not one of those professions that kids grew up with, right? They don't answer like, when I grow up, I want to become a real estate agent, right? Or a real estate broker. they'll probably mention that, I'd like to be a doctor someday. I'd like to be a lawyer, right? So, real estate, you guys are in real estate, right? So, what led you to doing this thing? Aaron, let's start off with you.
What led me to go into real estate? Actually, before I was at KMC Savills, I was running a business doing short-term rentals, and then the pandemic hit, and then we weren't allowed to do that anymore because of health restrictions. So then I came on board to lead the residential team at KMC Savills. Was fortunate enough to get a job during the pandemic, so that was back in October 2020, and yeah, here I am. We've grown from a team from 4 up to 9, and doubled our sales this year. So
Wow.
it's a tough climate, but
Mhm.
we're surviving somehow.
See, guys, I was talking to you about experts in the field, and here you go, Aaron mentioning about doubling the sales. So, good job, Aaron. But what? Obviously, you're not Filipino. So, what brought you here?
Well, I was living in Hong Kong before I was in the Philippines. Started visiting a few times, met my girlfriend, saw an opportunity to open a business. So we were helping condo
Uh huh.
owners to put their condos on platforms like Airbnb, Booking.com, Agoda, and help them lease them out to people on business trips or tourists. And yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Yeah. Love, love brings you to the Philippines, and love brings you to the Philippines and work for the Philippine real estate market. Thank you.
That's right.
How about you, G? I believe your, if I may say it on air, your undergrad was journalism or broadcast.
Broadcast.com. Yeah. I'm
So
probably the last person that you'd think to be in real estate.
you should
I
be
also
here. You should be here doing this.
yeah, so my as part of my training, part of my undergrad was I was into communications, major in broadcast com. I taught for 3 years, and then back in 2001, I think I just found myself at the right place at the right time. There was an ad in the newspaper. I feel so old saying it that way, that I found my job in real estate through an ad in a newspaper. But there was an ad in the newspaper about this IT park that was coming up, developed by Mega World. Then I applied. I didn't really start off into a sales job. I was tasked to do special projects, but as they say, you there's this privilege of you getting paid and be educated, and I think that's what I got when I entered into Mega World, because I was fortunate enough to be part of a team with really great mentors. So
Mhm.
I stayed there for 10 years and built a career there in real estate for 10 years.
Nice, nice. And love of work also brought you to real estate, and as we can see, you're loving it. So thanks. Speaking of Mega World, just wait up, guys. We might have Mr. Kevin Tan in the show. So a little bit more prayers to have him here and talk to us about our RIT as well as other plans of Mega World. All right, let's get ready to rumble then, guys. Thank you for that intro of how you got started to real estate. Um, when we were thinking of what show to put up on the second season, we were thinking of something that is a follow up to what we said in the opener of season one. We said, real estate was hit. Wala namang hindi. There wasn't any business that wasn't hit by COVID. And obviously, businesses started closing. Real estate was also hit. Expats also moved out of the country to go back to their countries. So real estate was hit, right? But just as a follower to season one, wherein Michael said that there are negative prospects, but there are also beautiful prospects. So here we are, 4 months after. What is it exactly? How are we doing in terms of the industry uh, still nursing the COVID pandemic? I'd start off with you, Aaron, because G has, G has two topics to cover. So I'll start off with the residential market. Uh,
Sure.
how's the residential market coming along?
It's changing all the time, King. In June or July, we were kind of hoping that there would be a bit more of a recovery by now, but we're still sustaining lockdown. So yeah, things are tough, but it's varied. I mean, the price is going up in some areas outside Metro Manila with people moving out, and then in the CBDs they're getting slightly less congested. A lot of expats moving out, a lot of Chinese moving out as well, even some of the wealthy Filipinos who have got links to other countries who can move elsewhere are doing so. So, yeah, the rental rates in the CBDs have gone down a bit, but it gives people the chance to move to the CBDs if they couldn't have afforded it in the past. So that's good, I guess.
So you're talking about movement. You're talking about movement into CBD. Well, it was quite a surprise when you mentioned moving into CBDs, right? You did
Yeah,
mention
we're
that there
seeing
are
both.
clients.
A lot of people definitely moving out.
Okay, moving. Yeah,
People are
moving out.
getting fed up of living in condos. But
Mm-hmm.
then before the pandemic, a certain demographic might not have been able to live close to the office. So what we're
Okay.
seeing now is because the rents have dropped, they
Uh-huh.
might actually be moving near the office because they can
Okay.
now afford it where they couldn't have in the past.
But in relation to that, not too much purchases of condominiums in the CBDs, but more of rentals in the CBDs because it's much closer to the workplaces, right?
Yeah, well, we're seeing both. The developers are doing pretty well with the pre-selling, considering the situation. There's still some secondary market condos being sold,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not as much as before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, pre-selling, pre-selling.
Yeah.
How
Well, they're
good?
offering discounts now, King. So, yeah, they're able to offer good payment terms also. So it's attractive to buyers.
How good of discounts are we talking about? Familiar with percentages like in terms of
Yeah,
how much
anything
discounts are
up
we
to
getting?
10%, and then for,
Uh-huh.
for like the down payment and the payment terms,
Uh-huh.
they're kind of giving longer periods where they can pay off their home loans.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Um, on the on the secondary market though, would there be what we call, because I think I did hear it from the first season where Mike said that there is a fire sale going on in the condo market. Is that still true up to now?
I'd say for the lower segment of the market, for the cheaper condos, yeah, they've seen a significant drop. But
Mm-hmm.
it depends. It's a case to case basis. So if, for example, the condo owners lost their job and they've bought it with a home loan, they've got costs, right? So they're going to be really motivated to sell. But we've
Yeah,
got we've
yeah.
got other clients who have 10 or 20 condos and they're all bought in cash, so they can
Uh-huh.
kind of wait it out, and they're not so motivated to sell or to drop their
Uh-huh.
prices.
Uh-huh. Okay. And you did mention earlier about people moving out of the CBDs. Where do they go to?
Just outside the Metro Manila mainly, Laguna, Cavite, even as far as Pampanga,
Mm-hmm.
Rizal,
Yeah.
Antipolo. There's a few developments there now.
And most likely not move into vertical developments there, but look for more space,
Yes,
more
definitely.
greens, right?
Yeah.
bigger playgrounds for the kids if it's allowed.
Hmm.
And any specific uh, you may mention names in the show. So
Well,
any specific
Duval is very
projects,
popular at the
any
moment.
specific projects, say for example in the south in Laguna, that's been getting much attention from your clients.
Yeah, we saw a lot of demand for West Grove Heights. Yeah, and New Valley also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because most of our broker friends would like to hear those names too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure
to,
they.
to to keep an eye out on properties that they'll be pushing to you guys for your clients. So
Yeah.
thanks for that. Well, that's just a warm up, guys, of what to expect in this hour of Realty Realities. So, we'll be talking to you more lengthily about movements in the property sector as soon as we mention and say thank you to our sponsors. So, we'll get back to you guys. We'll get back to the viewers. So just hang on to your seat, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you. Hey there, you guys are back. Can we have direct the AVP for KMC, please? All right. We've got flashed the different shows of TNC because that's how many shows we've produced. Realty Realities is just one of the shows. So TNC is a live stream platform of online shows, as you can see the different shows there for people on the go. We are inviting you all to watch our shows as seen on the screen. We aim to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our mission is to become a community where passionate people accept each other, share inspiration, and promote positive transformation. Our vision is to be a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. So, so thank you guys for watching Realty Realities, our program for anything under the sun about real estate in the country. So, hoping that you will all be informed buyers and sellers at the end of each and every season. So, more upcoming shows, just follow hashtag TNC Now on Facebook, on YouTube, and other social media platforms. Enjoy our life changing shows because we made them all for you. Okay, Derek, can we bring up the AVP of KMC?
Our services are delivered at a world-class international standard, and our clients can tell, and that's why they continue to use us time and time again.
Nice, nice. There you go. You saw the our season one opener guest, Mr. Michael McCullough, there, featuring KMC. Uh, can we also have the Vista AVP on? Vista Blue Chips Marketing is our sponsor for the first two seasons of Realty Realities. So we'd like to thank Ms. Cheryl Sanguyo of Vista Blue Chips Marketing. It's part of the Vista Land Global Sales Network. Okay. Derek, can we bring back Mr. Aron Pritchard as we continue along with our talk about the residential market in the country? Hey, Aaron.
And King.
Are there, what are bright spots when it comes to the residential market? You know,
Well,
if
the
I
bright spots.
if I
Definitely the subdivisions these days.
all right, subdivision. Say for example, I have say 15 million to spare. What subdivisions are we looking at with that budget?
You could get some sales in subdivisions that are like pre-selling, but yeah, it's not the highest budget though, King. Have you got any more to spare? If you can go up a bit, like say 100 million, you're looking at like Ayala Alabang Village, or even up to 300 million plus. You can be looking at like Dasma, Urdaneta.
Which are
Maybe
the
not
movements,
Park, you have to go a bit higher.
and these are the movements that you guys are working on, right? So from you're talking about movements outside to the outskirts of Metro Manila, but you're also you also see bright spots of moving into subdivisions such as Ayala Alabang as well as Dasmariñas.
Yeah, well, since the pandemic, the demand for subdivisions has skyrocketed because people want more space, right? So yeah, obviously the subdivisions within the metro are definitely popular, but because of the new skyways and the new roads, less traffic, people are also more open to moving outside of the metro now.
Okay, okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know, you saw me shaking my head a little bit because it was quite surprising when you also mentioned in our casual conversation the other day that wealth, well, there's still a lot of wealth, and that people, despite the pandemic, there is still a market for people purchasing properties in well-off subdivisions such as Ayala Alabang
Yeah,
and
I think
the ones
some
in the
people
metro,
have
right?
very deep pockets, and their money might not be put to use in some businesses because of the pandemic. You know, they've had to close certain businesses down. They want to put that money somewhere else. Real estate is always a safe option.
So
And then
are you talking about investments here, Aaron, or houses that they've transferred into?
investments.
Oh, these are okay. So
Yeah.
these are investments.
hmm
Yeah, because
Well,
like what you mentioned.
we're seeing more of a demand for people moving into houses, but also at the same time, you know, the wealthier are able to buy these houses. So maybe they're buying them up and renting them out because they're seeing that increase in demand, and they want to put their money to work somewhere else.
Uh, is it because prices in these subdivisions have sort of stagnated, or they haven't grown in value? That's why investors are buying into these types of properties, or
I mean, generally, land values are pretty stagnant in the metro at the moment.
mhm.
But for subdivisions, there's like a slight increase actually because there's more demand. More people want it now than they did before.
What slight appreciation are we looking at? 10%?
Yeah,
Right?
anything from 5 to 10%.
Wow. 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 That's good. That's good. Yeah, yeah. I see your point of them not reinvesting their money into business operations because of what's happening, that people can't go out. It's COVID, so they're investing in properties that is less riskier than investing in business operations, right?
Yeah, I mean, some businesses would have done better since the
Yeah.
pandemic, but
Uh-huh.
then other
Uh-huh.
businesses, I mean, if you're in the restaurant business, yeah, it's going to be pretty tough right now. So
Okay.
yeah, you might want to take your money out and put it in real estate.
Okay. Since we're talking about business, we've got one of our guys here who's a specialist in the office as well as industrial markets. As I've described him to you earlier, he's already an institution in real estate. He would beg to differ. I saw that smirk on the face, but when you mentioned Jie Espinosa in real estate, people already know him, and that's why we've invited him also in the show. So without further ado, again, I'll bring the floor to G. And G, just a word of caution. I know you've got some slides there. And then I've also said that I might interrupt or interject in some of the slides, but I'd rather not do that. I'll let you finish all your slides. And if Aaron, Aaron would have questions also. If I would have questions, I'll just shoot it after you've finished all your slides. Yeah, is that good?
Sure, sure. I'm gonna breeze
That's
through it because I'm intending for you to engage me and ask questions because some of the viewers might have questions themselves. So yeah, I'm gonna do it quickly lang siguro, King.
Yeah, yeah, questions. I see some people are already asking questions. Yes, please put in the comment section all your questions, all your pag-alinlangans in real estate, everything, if you want to say hi to Aaron, if you want to say hi to G also, please put in there. Yeah, we'll put that question on the side first. We'll So that we can go on with the slides of G. Please.
Sure. So you were asking about how the industry is moving right now, King. So I'm gonna go through this. So first and foremost, just a month ago, as all of us in the real estate sector were putting out reports about the state of the market. A lot of the people mid-year were thinking that we might have turned a corner, primarily because things were starting to alleviate in terms of the number of cases, and the interest level across the board was picking up. But and then we got into the Delta variant situation, and then this recent spate of lockdowns. But overall, as you look at it in terms of vacancy, I mean, there's nothing really else to say. It's so obvious. From pre-pandemic levels of less than 5% vacancy, it has now ballooned to 15% vacancy. Do I think that we've hit the bottom? I don't think so. I think that we're gonna see the effects of the lockdown currently that we have probably a quarter or 2 quarters from now. So there's gonna be more spaces that will become available. As you can see, as we check the vacancy, King, it's not just about the new spaces that are put out there that's being absorbed by the market. It's
Mm-hmm.
also about the spaces that have lingered there. They've never been occupied and they've never been leased. And then, of course, you have all of those vacated spaces because the companies give up space and pre-terminated on their leases. Just for 2021 alone, if you look at the supply, King,
Yeah.
currently, if a company were to look for space in Metro Manila, you'd probably will tell them that look, there's 1.1 million square meters of available office space out there.
Okay.
But with all of the things that are happening and unfolding, we foresee that this could balloon to around 1.6 million square meters. That's the biggest amount of supply that we've seen in quite a while in this market. And, that's worth 2 years of pre-pandemic demand. So, will it be quick for the market to turn around? We feel that it could take a while for recovery to really pick up, primarily because there's just so much supply out there, and demand could take a while to really recover. And of course, all of the companies right now, King, we had a survey just pre-pandemic about the sentiments of most of the companies. Most of them are still grappling with the situation, and they're trying to take a conservative approach in terms of bringing back people to the office. So that's why you have a lot of vacated spaces in the market. No? So if you look at the amount of vacated spaces in the market, King, it has grown up to around what, 700,000 square meters overall. No? So those are all of the leases that have been terminated, all of the spaces that have been handed back. If you look at the bar charts to your right, you'll basically see that the amount of spaces that have been given up by the Chinese online gaming companies,
Okay.
the logos, have tapered off because there's no more space to be given up. Not much anymore. Only a few of them are still operating in the country. And the best barometers for me about the situation right now, with the way companies are looking at the take up of space. If you look at the yellow bar there, and then the bottom bar, you see that from Q1 to Q2, there has been an increase in the number of spaces that have been given up by multinational companies and also by the BPO companies. What does that mean? So a lot of the multinational companies before used to take several floors
Mm-hmm.
because of work from home, because they're also recalibrating, they're adjusting. A lot of them are instituting hybrid type of work situations, arrangements with their employees. They haven't really pre-terminated their office leases, but they gave up a few floors because they felt that, no, I mean, look, I don't need as much office space anymore. And some of the BPO companies have, re-engineered the way they look at the way they take up space. So pre-pandemic, King, I was telling you this a week ago when we were doing our
Yeah.
initial chat that, the call centers, the contact centers before pre-pandemic typically take mega sites. They would sign up for multiple floors, 10,000 square meters. That's no longer the norm. They're trying to approach it in a different way. They're now looking at smaller sites, micro sites that are closer to where their employees are, given the
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty in terms of the situation and the risk of commuting. And most of that growth from the BPO sector, in as much as we're seeing some of the shared services companies operate here in Metro Manila and continue to grow here in Metro Manila, the contact centers have pretty much grown outside of Metro Manila, where most of the PESA spaces are. Um, Now, I mean, looking forward over the next few years, if you look at the pipeline of what's going to be developed, a lot of our major developers have already somehow slowed down. Some of them have, in fact, put on hold, not necessarily canceled, but put on hold certain projects. We've been tracking that on a per quarter basis. That's primarily because it's a wait and see stance, King. They want to see how the situation unfolds before they go and develop more office spaces. So if you can see, much of the existing office supply that we have currently is up until 2023. There is that gap by 2024 where not much is going to be completed. So, for most of the developers out there, that's probably going to be the sweet spot later on when they're going to start thinking about putting something out there because it's going to be an undersupply scenario if and when the market recovers by next year. Um, in terms of demand, if you look at how things happened over the last um, few months in 2021, there's definitely an improvement compared to last year, the same period last year. But are we seeing the same drivers in terms of growth? May not necessarily be. You can see to the right portion of the slide again, King, no? Just before the lockdown happened, we had enormous amount of demand, largely fueled by Chinese online gaming companies. And as soon as the lockdown happened, there was barely anything that was noted. And then for most of last year, what kept us afloat was the demand from the BPO sector. But fairly recently, with all of the movements in e-commerce platforms, a lot of your logistics companies and e-commerce companies growing, we're seeing the emerging sector companies from the emerging sector take up more space during the first half of this year. So what are those emerging sectors? Those are your e-commerce companies taking up more office space. We saw Shopee, we saw Amazon grow their office space take up here in this market. And for the first time in this market's history, we're starting to see elevated interest, elevated demand from the data center operators. So
Okay.
these are regional global operators who are starting to come in and take interest in the company, in the country.
In the country.
Yeah. Um, Probably a lot of our viewers are probably wondering, especially those who might be coming from the developer side or those who are looking at investing in REITs, for example, how
Mm-hmm.
have the rates panned out? So for the first time in over a decade, King, no, a lot of our developers, they started to adjust the rates.
Mm-hmm.
So from a year ago level, there have been certain reductions already in terms of published rates. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
as they negotiate the leases with certain offices, there tends to be a little bit more aggressiveness in terms of the way they structure the deals
Uh-huh.
because they want to give more incentives to companies just to be able to spur deals within their office development. So, you know, that still is indicative, that still is reflective of the soft psyche of most developers out there.
Mm-hmm.
It just goes to show that it's a tenants market at the moment.
Yes.
I mean, is this something that we're seeing across the country? If you look at, other cities outside of Metro Manila, um,
Wow.
I mean, probably the one bright spot that you see is Iloilo, where vacancy is very, very low. A lot of growth, a lot of interest in Iloilo. That's primarily driven by the talent pool that you have in that area and the quality of the real estate by the big developers there. It got quickly absorbed. But key markets like Pampanga and Cebu, we're seeing high vacancy rates, higher than Metro Manila. We've said this. We were anticipating this pre-pandemic that at some point the Cebu market could become um, would be overhitting and there could be an oversupply, and that's what we're seeing right now. So hopefully things could pick up again for Cebu. Um, I want to talk about the sister company of Aron as well, your flex space industry, your
Yeah.
agile spaces.
Yeah.
Mike spoke
Solution.
about this last season. He mentioned that they did extremely well pre-pandemic, heading into the pandemic, where the business grew to what, roughly around 15,000 seats right now. They're probably an exception, not the norm as of the moment, because if you really look at the market, even the flex space industry is not spared. The vacancy level is even higher. If you look at it, there's been a contraction in the industry. A lot of the smaller players have closed up shop. Therefore, you see fewer number of seats available, and at the same time, the vacancy is huge. It's almost
Mm-hmm.
half of the available seats out there is not contracted, meaning walang kontrata. They're not occupied. There's no commitment to those seats. So you'll see that a lot of the rates there in that sector has been slashed by 50% as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
with all of these things that you're seeing, King, is it all bleak? Is it all doomsday scenario ba? Not necessarily. I told you that, there are bright spots in the market. And, the two bright spots, and I'm going to end with this last two slides, which hopefully leaves a more positive, view for our audience, our viewers out there. The one thing that's really saved us or picked up the slack in the office sector side is industrial and logistics. A lot of the developers out there pre-pandemic did not pay too much attention to this, but if because we have a huge regional platform outside of the Philippines, handling different types of occupiers. We did a survey a quarter ago. Which markets do you want to enter to? And a lot of the companies have said on the industrial and logistics side, pick the Philippines as one of the top four markets that they wanted to enter. And as they enter, I think meron lang a little bit of a challenge because there's not much supply. What you have available is either too small or too dated. And that's why, I'm pretty sure you've heard me talk about this in our own webinars. I've been advocating to the developers out there. If there's one thing that you need to focus on, if there's one thing that you need to spend your money on and really try to develop and diversify the portfolio of these developers, it's really this, no, industrial and logistics spaces, because there's nothing available for our clients. A lot of them are built to suit. They come in here, we have to build from a blank canvas, ground up. And then the other sector, King, is the data centers. No, this is my last slide. And we're fortunate enough that we brought in a major player fairly recently, just last quarter. And for me, that is reflective of the circumstances that surrounded it. That's reflective of how this market is probably evolving, because that space that our client occupied was signed up for a POGO client pre-pandemic. But because the POGO client left and pre-terminated, could no longer continue on with the lease, the developer that we dealt with offered the space to our client, a data center. Was it, was it the most ideal setup for them? They had to do a lot of retrofits, but sa kagustuhan nila that they wanted to be within Metro Manila, and there was that available space, it was a good thing that they were able to take it, because the developer had this inside a master plan community. You have a township with very robust infrastructure. We were able to do the deal, and it allowed that data center to come in, set up shop, and conclude the lease. So we're seeing more of that, more data center operators. In fact, the ones that are starting to take interest in the country, King, are actually players from the region, regional players and global operators, King. That just goes to show the confidence that they're starting to have about the market and about our capability to accommodate such type of requirements here in the country. So on an average, we're seeing 27,000 square meters of requirements from data centers, and most of them are looking at areas. If they're not able to get that here in Metro Manila, they're looking at Calaba area, no? So Cavite, Laguna, and Bulacan. Areas where we feel the next level of growth could really come from.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot of data from you, G.
And
Thank you
sorry I
very
had to
much.
breeze through it because I was
No,
mindful of
no,
the time.
no worries, no worries. As I've told you, that it's good to go through those data because people need to know what's not and what's hot. So since we're looking forward to what's hot, right? We'll take some time to digest on those data that you've given us, and allow some of our sponsors to make us digest and imagine all this, and then let's talk about the positive outlook. Let's talk about the data centers. Let's talk about a brief about Iloilo as well. Okay, so to the viewers, just hang on to your seats, and we'll be back to talk to you, to Aaron as well as G, and we look forward to seeing a positive outlook for the Philippine real estate, even though we've heard about not so good news, like anywhere else, right? So we'll be back in a few minutes. Just hang on to your seats. Thanks.
Today, we are the premier globally integrated commercial real estate services and investment firm. Our global perspective offers knowledge and experience that leads to unique cultural and commercial insights, while our scale and connectivity means we can mobilise our reach and bring together exactly the right people to solve the most complex real estate challenges. We invest in game-changing technology, media and data analysis that leads to unparalleled customer experiences and innovative new ways of doing business with our clients. It's this constant cycle of innovation that means we never settle for what we do today, but where we will go tomorrow. That's how we turn real estate into real advantage.
Hi guys, you're back at Realty Realities. Medyo hindi pa ako sanay dun sa chill music that we have on our OBB. I was so used to the tugs-tugs, kaya medyo chill din yung Saturday afternoon ko, you know. Um, well, you have to be chill. You have to be chill because it's the pandemic. You don't stress yourself too much worrying about so many stuff because at the end of the day, this shall all come to pass. And yun nga yung sinabi din ng mga mga our guests earlier, right? Aaron said that there's still movement in the residential market and movement even buying, those expensive houses in Ayala Alabang, those expensive houses in Dasma. Ha? Diba? And yun, no, pag-uusapan natin yun, there's also movements, even though there are a lot of vacant spaces in offices, there's also good prospects. So before I bring in G and Aaron again, I just wanted to remind you guys that the trivia question is, because I don't think anybody has answered. I haven't had the chance to look at it. The trivia question is, what's the first recorded real estate transaction in the history of the world? Is it A, is it a donation? B, is it a sale transaction? Or C, was it an extrajudicial settlement? Okay, so if you have any questions, because I'm going to be shooting my questions to both of our guests. If you have anything that you'd like to ask, I know there are two also that put in. If there's more, we still have about 5 minutes to talk about it. So let's bring in G and Aaron, please. Hey, um, Aaron, were you able to jot down notes, things that you wanted to ask G?
Does I have any questions for G?
No. Let your guys answer your questions. I'll do the questions now.
Okay.
But thanks also for taking note, and thanks G for even listening to Michael on the first season's episode. Um, at the start of your slides, you have 12 slides, right? And all of the 10 slides before that, it was looking bleak for the office market specifically. And what do we do with those vacant spaces? You did mention the data center, but what other creative things can brokers think about, or even businessmen think about, just to fill in those spaces? Would you have anything in mind?
Well, ultimately, I think the way to approach it is the message to the developers would be to be a little bit more pragmatic in terms of negotiating or working out transactions with occupiers. I know that this is a bit jarring for most developers at this stage because for the better part of 2 decades, we've been, we've been going up and up and up. Every year, almost every year, we've been seeing a lot of growth across different markets. And to a certain extent, just before the pandemic, there was a lot of artificial demand that was, going around, primarily because, most of those transactions that were absorbed by the Chinese online gaming companies were very, very quick transactions, and in fact, some of them had to pay above market. But for the first time in this market's history, after several decades, 2 decades,
Uh-huh.
we're starting to see that it's a tenant's market, a lessee's market,
Mm-hmm.
and we're already seeing some of the top developers take a more realistic, pragmatic approach in terms of negotiations.
Yeah.
We've never seen them be more aggressive before in terms of rental concessions, where they provided more rent-free incentive.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost unheard of in this market before that for office deals, a developer would actually, provide tenant improvement allowance
Mm-hmm.
or do the fit out themselves. But we're seeing some of the developers starting to do it already. So I think that's the only way to help each other out. One, be more pragmatic. Two, uh, think more outside of the box, because just when we were facilitating this data center requirement during the first quarter of the year, King, it was a laborious discussion with a lot of the options available out there. How do we
Mm-hmm.
really accommodate something like this, which is
Yeah.
pretty sizable, which could be impactful in your portfolio, but
Yeah.
it would require a little bit of meeting halfway in terms of investing in facilities or amenities that would allow them to operate in your building. So a lot of the developers that we initially spoke to, hindi pwede yan, that's too difficult. But luckily, we found ourselves a developer who was more forward thinking, not just pragmatic, but very forward thinking. Somebody who understood that ultimately getting this on board into the development could be landmark and trailblazing. And we made it through and we made it work. So, that's probably the best way to approach it, Kate.
Okay. All right. And well, let me just move forward to the data centers now. When you mentioned about data centers, what are these? What are these data centers, and how big of a space are do they normally look for? G.
So, I mean, in a certain office space, you probably have all of those servers available in a particular floor. You multiply that in a bigger scale, and that's your data center. So, a lot of the data centers that are taking interest here right now are targeting financial institutions. We're starting to see interest level coming from hyperscalers, Google, Facebook, of that type, primarily because they're seeing that Filipinos are starting to pick up in terms of internet utilization. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of us I mean, especially the young ones, a lot of us are starting to really use more of our phones through buying things, social media. So all of those data being managed by data centers, and that's why you're seeing more demand in that particular sector at this stage.
I see. I see. Thank you, G. And you did say about possibilities of well, requirements, actual requirements now of warehouse spaces, and these are usually located whereabouts? G, is it outskirts of Manila, or
Cavite,
are they also
Laguna,
look within Cavite and Laguna?
Batangas.
Yeah. Does it have to be fit out already or meeting the specific requirements of say logistics companies, or are they also open to say some of my clients would have raw land that's up for warehouse development?
Well, actually, King, when you come to think about it, that's the best that they can make do at this stage. Really,
Mm-hmm.
just lease raw land, because there's not much supply that's available for them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And if there is available supply, it's quite old and it's quite
Mm-hmm.
small, as I was saying earlier. So, I mean, you know, are these complicated build outs? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
It's core and shell and probably some technical items that come along with it. It's really more of what's available in terms of size, King. That's really a challenge at this stage, because the demand is usually ranging anywhere between 3 to 5 hectares,
Oh really? Yeah.
30 to 50,000 square meters.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you have a lot of industrial and logistics requirements in that range at this time.
Yeah. Did my broker friends take note of those? Laguna, Cavite. We're talking about fifth. How many hectares are we looking at?
30 to 50,000
There.
square meters, King.
Yeah, yeah, 3 to 5, 3 to 5 hectares of warehouse spaces in those areas. And I saw in your slide that the average warehouse space is about 2,000, right?
Mm.
2,000 square meters.
Mm.
Yeah,
And that's why it's a struggle because especially for brokers like us, no, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure Aaron's peers on the office and industrial side are also experiencing the same challenges. You know, a lot of our challenges are stemming from the fact that since walang available space,
Uh-huh.
karamihan ng discussions would be built to suit, meaning okay, since there's nothing available, can you do this for me? Can you build this for me? And
Uh-huh.
those discussions tend to be taking longer, and the transactions tend to be longer. So, on an average, most deals could get what, 6, 9 months.
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
mean, at this stage na medyo challenging yung market,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to just deal with that. But is it ideal? Well, I hope we can shorten those deal cycles because it allows our brokers,
Yeah.
it allows our practitioners to move on to the next requirement.
Um, is that something that's an emerging market? Because a lot of our property owners would just have raw lands, right? So a
Mm.
lot of the families in the provinces in the areas you mentioned, Laguna and Cavite, would just have raw lands, but not without any cash to develop it into warehouse spaces. So are we also seeing investors coming into the picture saying that, hey, Mr. Santos, ano po, pwedeng po akong mag-develop ng warehouse sa inyo kasi there's a prospective lessee of your area. Is that something that's coming along nowadays?
Yeah, well, actually, primarily our top developers, our major developers, are starting to take heed. Some of them have really more consciously looked at it as a sector that they want to focus on.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemicing, a lot of the focus has been primarily centered on office residential developments. But
Mm-hmm.
given how the situation is, I know Aaron spoke about the top tier of the market, but for me listening, you know, it's almost counterintuitive, the movements in the residential market. It's almost counterintuitive to how things were pre-pandemic. Right now there's just a lot of movement going outside, but as I was saying, going back to what I was saying, I mean, a lot of these developers wanted to look at office and residential before, simply that. But now they're starting to realize that this is something that I need to address, and there could be an upside for me participating in this type of sector.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, this is only a 1 hour show. Had I known, I would have asked the producers to give me an extra 30 minutes. I think we could discuss lengthily more of the things about what's happening in the market right now. But unfortunately, we're only a 1 hour show. But we'll keep you in mind for our other shows. We still have 11 episodes down the line for season 2. So hope to get you back. Thank you very much for spending this afternoon with us. We have two comments as well as questions, but I'll just throw it to you offline so that you guys can answer it. And in a matter of appreciation to your presence as well as your insights, your smart insights, we would like to give you each a WJE Home and Body Essentials. It's you have a selection. They have a whole wide range of products to choose from, but I'll probably give you the room mist because it's good for the sofa
Thank
as
you,
well as
King.
your
Thanks,
bed.
thanks so
So
much, King.
it's not just virtually, we'll be sending it to you guys. All right. So
Okay, look
offline,
forward to receiving it.
yeah, Aaron, don't write your address now on the comment section because you might get
I might get
some
some sort.
strangers knocking at your door, right? So just type it offline.
Sure.
Thank you again. We'll just give you a virtual clap. Gentlemen, maraming salamat for being in the show, Mr. Aron Pritchard, as well as Mr. G Santos. G Espinosa, sorry.
I forgive you, King.
um, well, that's about the time we have, guys. So would like to thank all of you for streaming live again at the season 2 of Realty. realities. For those who posted questions as well as comments, sorry, we couldn't entertain it right now, but we'll throw it to our guests for them to answer it. Um, Kaibigan naman tayo. Miss Pauline as well as Yabs, thank you for putting on your comments as well as your questions. So that's about the time that we have. Thank you very much for supporting the show. Also, would like to thank our sponsors. That's Vistaland Blue Chips Marketing, one of the global, a part of the global sales network of Vistaland. Would also like to thank www.spaceformybiz.com, a free marketplace for your properties. If you'd like to post something there, it's for free. And if you'd like to look for something, it's also free. All right. So I'm also mentioning it because our guests, CBRE and KMC, can also post in their listings there for free. All right. So thank you very much once again. So we'd like to wish everybody God bless you all. Take care and be safe. Bye.
Casa at